I'm just going to say something about Gail and
Okay.
about the history of the
Yes,
award.
and that's
Okay, so I'm not going to say anything about what I have to
Well, that's
say.
fine. No.
Okay,
No.
that's all I'm saying. I don't know
Right.
if I need to see the...
Right, all I'm saying is that yes,
Yeah, yeah, I'm all set. I got my little spiel.
yes, and all that, this was all I was gonna say because I figured you would discuss it about that. So I just,
That's perfect.
so I put that in.
Perfect. And when does this go in the
It's at the very end.
very end? Okay.
It's at the closing.
Okay.
Okay. So.
I'll try to stay awake. How are things going for you?
Okay. Other than I gotta get through this.
Are you up to the next? Jesus. We're only allowed to certain numbers of awards in some batch. Well, that's okay.
But, well, you know, it would go through my head too, and I would read it right there. I would say genocide.
Okay.
I certainly hope more people come in.
Yeah, because
We were 27 and 28.
we need 50 for quorum, so. Thank God I numbered my pages. 1, 2, 3. Oh, good, because. Yes. She's the one that's going to steal it. No. What it is that even though it's your checking account, we're still charging. right, cute, thanks. Good evening. I'd like to call to order our CBI annual meeting. Thank you all for attending. We will begin with Rabbi Weintraub's Devar Torah and his vision for the upcoming year.
Of course, I wrote my thing and I don't like it anymore. I'm skipping the first paragraph. But, we have this year, I think, amidst all the tsuris and the turmoil in the world, and while it hasn't been exactly the 101st year that I imagined, we have had a really phenomenal year. And Ina has been a wonderful president, and Janice and Eric have done incredible work. And somehow we even convinced my wife to be co-president of Sisterhood for next year. So that in itself is a miracle, Janice. We have Maureen and Allison and Cantor and Julia and Susanna. And with everybody working together, we've had over 30 new families this year. So our Parsha this Shabbat is Kadoshim Tiyu. That God says to Moses, "V'amarta Elohim kadoshim tiyu ki kadosh ani Elohechem." Speak to the entire Israelite people and say to them, "You will be holy, and because I, God, am holy." And central to everything that we do as a community is kedusha, is holiness, of trying to push all of us up to find the things that inspire us, to connect us to our roots and our future, so that we know where we were, our past, we know where we are now, and how we are going to get to where we'd like to be. And we do that in everything, whether it is the educational programming or whether it is writing our budget, because a budget talks about the important things. What are most important to our community? Is it programming? Is it people? Is it a beautiful facility? All of these things are important decisions that reflect our values. And I think about in this moment when we have seen anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism and anti-this and anti-that, that we have shown here, Am Yisrael Chai, that the Jewish people live. And no matter what the world wants to throw at us, we are here biyachad, together, to continue to inspire and lift up. And whether that is sitting at a city council meeting and sharing our voices, or whether that's davening together, or whether that's having a coffee or a beer with me somewhere. I will say we've decided after our last couple months that we now have our regular spot. We're just going to be at the Cider Press Vegan Gastropub for Jews and Brews from now on out, because it's vegan. According to the CJLS, that's kosher enough, and we know they'll turn the music down for us, which is a big deal. So as we look to the next 100 years, we really do have a thriving community. We care for each other. And I'm repeating a sentence from last year. We're the warm and welcoming community that every synagogue speaks about and says they want to be. In a few weeks, we're going to have our Pride Shabbat, this time again in partnership with Temple Bethel. This time, we're going on a field trip. So June 14th, it will be at TBE. And here, again, we're trying to ensure that our Friday night service, our Saturday morning, that everything we do has ruach, that has spirit and energy and joy. And I talk about what I want to see for our community each year. I spoke last year about Kesher and Kehila Kadosha, about connection and being a holy community. And this year, we can't forget those values, but we also really are going to focus on Hinuch, on education, on celebrating the heritage that we live and learn from each day. All of us are CBI. It's not me alone. It is each and every one of you that show up, that participate, that come to a congregational meeting on a Tuesday night in May when you have a lot of other things you could be doing. We're glad you're here. Everything we do is about working together and building our future. And we need each of you. We need your participation. We need your engagement. We need your neshamas and occasionally your dollars too. And I want to mention a couple things. I put out some flyers. Thank you, Julia and Allison, for putting them out. We have Shabbat on the beach this weekend, this Friday night. If you want to bring a little nosh first, we'll be at the beach by 5:30, and then at 6:30 we'll have the service. I was just mentioning, I spoke with a travel agent today about a Shabbat at sea. So more details to come, but the hope is that March 20th, 2025, we'll hop on the Enchantment of the Seas out of Tampa. We'll have Shabbat dinner and services together, and hopefully Shabbat morning as well. I have to figure out getting a Torah on the ship. But more information to come, and I think an opportunity. Again, not everything is for everybody. You may love it, you may hate cruising. Whatever. If you don't want to cruise, that's okay. If you want to join us, we'd love to have you. But no matter what, let me know soon. We're going to turn any challenges that come in our 102nd year into opportunities. We'll keep fighting for the hostages' return and work to build peace in this world. We'll continue my hope of building bridges beyond our walls so that we connect our history and dream about our future. So let us use God's name to bring holiness. Let us be holy, as our Parsha teaches us, because God is holy. Every day that I walk through these doors, I give thanks to the Holy One that I come and work here, and that I'm a part of this holy community. And I hope that you feel the same way, that this is a space that brings you holiness, especially as in the coming weeks, we're going to be redecorating and repainting and recarpeting. And remember, the end result is going to be beautiful. And we look forward to it. So let's keep up our holy work side by side at CBI. And now,
thank you. As I am about to deliver the State of the Shul address, I thought I'd start out just as the President of the United States usually starts his State of the Union address. The state of congregation Bnai Israel is strong. But seriously, this is our synagogue's 101st year in existence, and our synagogue is indeed growing and thriving. Under the guidance of Rabbi Weintraub, who has been our spiritual leader for 6 going on 7 years now, and is well established in the community, CBI is a staple of the conservative Judaism in our community. This past year, we have been lucky to have experienced a number of exciting programs and events for adults and youths alike. Our open house in August, led by Liz Sembler and her membership committee, was a huge success, and we have seen a growth in our membership. 31 new families have joined our congregation since July 1st of 2023. Our PRTT, Pauline Rifkin Talmud Torah Religious School, is growing. 9 families joined this year, in part for our PRTT program. The Gam Yom Rishon program for preschoolers has grown into a dedicated Sunday morning program as Maureen reaches out to attract new families. Maureen's session and her teachers have earned high praise from parents. Our youth group has participated in various holiday programs and activities. Our United Synagogue Youth Group for high schoolers has continued to grow, and they have participated in regional activities this year. For those adults, we again have many programs both inside the building and out on the road. We hosted and entertained by concerts from the collegiate a cappella group Tizmorat and the bluegrass group Nefesh Mountain. We have had a number of guest speakers on Shabbat, and we brought back our Scholar in Residence program, starting with Rabbi Weintraub's favorite JTS Scholar in all right, sorry. Okay, somehow this got messed up. Okay, well, Rabbi Weintraub's JTS professor, Dr. Marjorie Lehman, thank you. We have a strong sisterhood and Mitzvah Men's Club who are coming up with new and fun activities for our communities to enjoy, and I will be introducing the president shortly to say a few words. We celebrated a number of simchas this year, including bar and bat mitzvahs, and ufraf, baby naming, and birthday Shabbats. You may have noticed more sponsored kiddushes this past year, which we all enjoy, and this help keeps our costs down. You will be seeing, and many have already noticed, a number of upgrades and improvements to our facility. We have already replaced some of the kitchen appliances, retrofitted our indoor lighting in the social hall, and replaced the outdoor fixtures for cost-saving LEDs. We will shortly begin our major interior renovation, and I will ask Susie Schwartz to briefly provide us with an update. Thank you to Susie and her committee for spearheading this major undertaking. Our finances have remained healthy due to the hard work of our treasurer, Dr. Mark Reiskin, and his finance committee, Joel Shane and his, what is going on? Okay. Well, I don't know why this all got jumbled. And his finance committee, Joel Shane and his resident committee, and our board of trustees. Our annual financial commitment, AFC, which are not dues, but voluntary pledges made to CBI, did not meet our expectations this year. Our expenses, even with additional cost-saving measures, still have been on the rise. Please remember when filling out your pledge form in the next 2 months, even small increases can make a difference. In reducing expenses, we recently changed our credit card and e-check provider to a database, change our credit card and e-check provider to get a lower rate. We need congregants that have stored their credit card on our database to delete them and then resave the same card or their bank account. I think as you came in, a lot of people were doing that. Some of you have already done that, and after this, we will have Allison and Susanna be calling, and if we haven't gotten you, we will try to reach you at home. The database will automatically change to the new provider. If you encounter any problems or just want help, you can call the office or speak to one of our staff. Allison, our executive director, Susanna, our new bookkeeper, and last but not least, Julia, our newest staff member in the office. As I mentioned, CBI stands on stable fiscal ground due to the generosity of our congregants. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we did lose some of our long-term members, including 2 past presidents, as well as Jerry Benstock, a major benefactor this past year. Joan and Jerry were amazing supporters of Jewish causes, and especially CBI. Mark, when he goes over the budget, will explain in more detail, but I do want you all to know that the Benstocks generally bequeathed to CBI 100,000 shares of Superior Group of Companies stock in their will. We are grateful to Jerry and Joan for their legacy that they have left, and the entire Benstock family for their unwavering support for our shul and their friendship. Lastly, unfortunately, as a sign of our turbulent times, as you may have noticed, there has been a stronger security presence in our shul. As such, our security expenses have increased. We recently were turned down by the state for our grant application for funding for security. Allison and our team are working now on our federal grant request, which is due by next week. The safety and comfort of our worshipers is of the utmost importance to your board, and I want to thank Susan Levine and her security team for overseeing this necessity. I hope we have lived up to everyone's expectations. Although I stand here today as president of the board, as the saying goes, I stand on the shoulders of giants. Our board members, past and present, amazing volunteers, and our staff have been essential in making everything run smoothly. I want to thank everyone who has helped me in the first year as president and for keeping me sane, including my family. I am thrilled that we will be adding 3 new members to our board who will vote on tonight: Joel Berman, Ted Glatt, and Pam Kravitz. Thank you for stepping up to the plate, but to keep our shul thriving, we need additional volunteers, especially in leadership roles. Please don't hesitate to speak to me, Rabbi Cantor, any of the board members, or Allison, our executive director, if you'd like to offer your talents to enhance our community. And now I'd like to ask Billy Bornstein to come and speak as the president of the sisterhood. Janice Levine could not make it tonight.
Good evening. I am Billy Bornstein, immediate past president of CBI Sisterhood. Our president, Janice Levine, is out of town and asked that I deliver this report in her place. As we wrap up our year, I am thrilled to report that our sisterhood was once again very successful. We remain fiscally strong and full of vibrant, active, and committed volunteers. Here are 10 highlights from our year. 1, we increased our membership from 107 to 137. 2, we started an Adopt a Member program where every board member personally invited other members to attend our events. 3, we continued our homemade soup program, and to date, we have delivered over 70 containers to women in need of a warm hug and a bowl. Number 4, we exceeded our Torah Fund goal by $800, donating over $12,000 for the education and training of our future clergy and Jewish educators. Number 5, we invested in our Jewish future by awarding the largest amounts ever to our scholarship program for children attending Jewish summer programs. Number 6, we catered approximately 25 Shabbat Kiddush luncheons, including numerous milestone events for our CBI members. Number 7, we provided diverse programs addressing a variety of interests, including health, safety, art, games, and even the outdoors with our blueberry picking and shark tooth collecting outing. Number 8, we participated in the area-wide HER program to collect diapers and feminine products for women who cannot afford these necessities. Number 9, we continued to provide a variety of services to our CBI community, including the operation of our beautiful Judaica gift shop and our Shalach Manot program, where we raised almost $1,200 to send to Israel. Number 10, finally, we restructured our executive board so that every year from here on in, we will have 2 co-presidents, with one experienced woman mentoring the newer one. I'm thrilled to announce that for the 2024-25 year, our 2 co-presidents will be Janice Levine and Rebecca Weintraub. In the following year, they will be Rebecca Weintraub and Bonnie Halpern. We look forward to serving CBI in the 2024-25 year, and we thank all of you for our continued support of sisterhood.
Eric, would you like to come up and speak on behalf of Men's Club?
Hello, I'm Eric Pastman, president of the Mitzvah Men's Club, and I just want to let you know the Mitzvah Men's Club has been an integral part of CBI. We host many social events, such as the recent Passover barbecue that many of you attended. We also help CBI quite a bit, and in fact, if you stop by the social hall, you'll see our version of the kotel that our volunteers assembled this past Sunday, and I hope you'll participate in one or more of the activities that are going to be held next week during Yom HaAtzmaut by CBI's kotel. So if you haven't heard, I'm going to be stepping down at the end of this year from my presidency, and Kerry Reich is going to be assuming the presidency of the Mitzvah Men's Club going forward for the next 2 years. So, and you've already done that, but I was just saying, please show him your support as you've shown me for the last 6 years. So, lastly, I've got a question for you. We have a Mother's Day event coming up this Sunday, a brunch, and we have 10 people signed up. So we're seriously thinking about maybe it doesn't make sense for 10 people. Is there interest amongst the people sitting here in attending the Mother's Day brunch? Because if there's not, we're thinking of canceling it. So raise your hands if there is. I see 3, so that gets us to 13. Okay, well. Okay, and that it doesn't get us to 13. Okay, thank you, Mason. All right, well, and that's all I have. So thank you very much, and I hope we'll have another great year next year.
Thank you. And finally, I'd like to ask Susie Schwartz to come up and fill us in on the current upgrades and timeline being planned for our sanctuary and social hall.
Okay, our decorating committee has been working hard for the past 6 months in getting competitive bids for work ahead of us. We are in the process of securing contractors, ordering materials, and speccing out certain work which we expect will be accomplished by Rosh Hashanah. We are very excited for the new face of CBI. It is going to be entirely different and quite beautiful. Many of you know that we have a new roof, many new air conditioners, and some lighting, which was completed last year in Phase 1, thanks to Joel Shane and Harry Human. The first thing we will be doing in Phase 2 is flooring, painting, and wall coverings, specifically in the sanctuary, the social hall, the kitchen, the atrium, the lobby, the chapel, the hallway, the offices, and the library, okay? We have taken into consideration not only the vision of what this will look like, but we have been very aware of creating lower maintenance. Additionally, we are committed to being fiscally responsible. Next year, in Phase 3, we will tackle the much-needed renovation of our bathrooms and the youth lounge, and painting of the school and the exterior of our building. Why aren't we doing this all at one time? Well, many pledges were made over several years. That's why we have different phases of this project. We are working with a decorator as we did 25 years ago. She has been very helpful, even securing vendors for this project, and is helping us establish a proper timeline. We do need volunteers to check on the building during this process. If anyone has a desire to be a volunteer for any amount of time, even helping the staff pack up, because it's going to be an ordeal the next couple of weeks, please let Harry Human know. We, as the decorating committee, and I want the people who are here from the decorating committee, please stand up. Susie Berman, Harry Human, who else is here? Marilyn Benjamin, and Stephanie Stein could not be here, and we're missing, and Louisa Benjamin. And it's been a really great process working with these people, okay? And we, as a decorating committee, are thrilled to be such an integral part of this upgrade to our building for both our current membership and for future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Susie. Okay, let's begin the business part of our meeting. Jill Weisberg, our board secretary, could not be here tonight. Natalie Feld has agreed to be our secretary for this evening. I will also point out that because it's live streamed, it's being recorded, so that will also help you, so thank you. Okay, the first order of business is the election of our 24-25 slate of officers and board of trustees. Officers and board members are elected to 2-year terms with the 8 board member terms staggered. We have 3 board members who are stepping down from CBI's board after years of board service, and I wanted to thank Louisa Benjamin, Judy Luden, and Liz Sembler from the bottom of my heart. Lori Reiskin, chair of the nominating committee, will present the slate.
Thank you, Ina. I want to thank the people who were on the nominating committee with me. It was Eric Pastman, Bonnie Halpern, Sandy Brash, and Rachel Ween. We made a lot of phone calls. We have a lot of information that we shared. There are a lot of people who were interested in helping CBI, maybe not starting and jumping right into a board position. So we definitely will be sharing the information with Ina as she moves forward. Continuing in their 2-year terms as officers, Ina Shepherd, President, First Vice President Eileen Richmond, Second Vice President Larry Feynman. If anybody wakes up at 4 a.m. and decides they want to be the third Vice President, you have my permission to call or text me at that hour, because that position is still vacant. Secretary Jill Weisberg and Treasurer Mark Reiskind. Completing their 2-year term, so going into the second year of their 2-year term, Mally Feld, Bonnie Halpern, Harry Heumann, and David Rapport, and now being nominated to come onto the board to serve a 2-year term, we have Joel Berman, Ted Glatt, Pam Kravitz, and Steve Levine.
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the slate of officers and trustees nominated by the nominating committee? Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand and keep it raised so that it can be counted. Where's Allison? Okay. Where's Allison and? Yeah, because where's Allison and Jill? Not here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, looks like it's 25. Great, thank you. Okay, those opposed, please raise your hand. Okay, unanimous. My congratulations to the newly elected trustees. Okay, the board member who is here tonight? All right, all the board members that are here, can you please stand up? See? Thank you all so much. Okay, the next order of business is a vote on Cantor Schultz's contract extension. Cantor requested an extension of his current contract, which is terminating on June 30th, 2024. The Board of Trustees approved the extension to June 30th, 2025, with a 4% increase in his salary, subject to membership approval. Do I hear a motion to accept Cantor Schultz's contract extension? Do I have a second? Perfect. All right, I'll start the other way. Those opposed, please raise your hands. Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Okay, that passes. Thank you all. Cantor's contract extension is approved. Yeah, that works a whole lot better. Okay, next on the agenda is the approval of the bylaws change. The Bylaws Committee, chaired by parliamentarian Lauren Sallet, in collaboration with the Membership Committee, chaired by Liz Sembler, recommended this change. The Board of Trustees voted to approve their recommendation. The change is to delete Article 4, Section 4B in its entirety. The bylaws currently under membership application states that a majority vote of the Board of Trustees is required to approve new synagogue membership. Are there any questions on this? Okay, great. Then I will go with, do I hear a motion to accept the bylaw change? Second. Okay, those opposed, please raise your hand. That was easy. Okay, all in favor? Majority. Thank you all. Okay, we're moving right along. Okay, Next on the agenda is the acceptance of the budget. Treasurer Mark Reiskin will present his budget report.
Hi, everyone. I just want to state for the record that you should know that we definitely have a quorum this evening. We need 50 members present for a quorum, and we have 64.
we're asking you to update your financial, your credit card information. Some people have got credit cards on file that are expired, so we need to delete those off. And also, because of the way Shul Club, well, if you came to the synagogue instead of showing up from home, you'd hear me. We are still a presence synagogue. So we need people to update because Shul Cloud added a 0.4% cost if we were going to use a different credit card processor. So for those, we got a number of you before to be able to update your credit card information, which basically is delete your old card, put in the same card again, and then you can do that online. If you log in and you see that there's a little note at the bottom of where you put in your credit card information that says SIP. So that SIP means that you're now up to date. They also using Stripe, which is the credit card processor that Shul Cloud uses, seems to give us the information and processing a little bit easier. Restricted funds. We have been extremely lucky. We sold a cemetery that we were not running well, and people paid us a lot of money for it. They didn't do such a good job, so they sold it back, but we were smart enough this time around to say, no, as a synagogue, we're not real good about running cemeteries. So we have the Jewish Burial Society of Pinellas County, where some of their board members are here in attendance, that have been doing a much better job of maintaining our synagogue our cemetery up off of Olmerton Road. The funds that we got years ago are in the Benjamin Fund. The Benjamin Fund actually, as of the end of March, which is the last time that we've gotten data from TOP, is actually higher than it was a year ago, even after we took our draw of $146,000 out of the account. Now, the Benjamin Fund, the BFF, restricted funds have been in a balanced program of 60% stocks, 40% bonds and cash that is managed by TOP. Tampa, Orlando, Pinellas, Philanthropy, a number of you have accounts with them, and they have been matching or slightly beating the averages for their stock and bond portfolios. And TOP has been very, very responsive to us about moving money in and out as we need. So that's been very helpful. They also make it helpful for those that want to contribute State of Israel bonds, that we're able to place them into our portfolio with them, depending upon which way people contribute. If they're contributing for operations, we get the State of Israel bond sold, which gets kept in our Benjamin Fund for the year, and then we get the cash, and a year from now, the bond gets cashed. If for Operation Upgate, we just put that bond into that portfolio, and because we're able to use TOP, they're willing to work with us on State of Israel bonds. Our previous management didn't have the flexibility of handling our State of Israel bonds, so they've been helpful. The BFF is a contribution from the Ben stocks to do programming for youth and young families that are not traditionally part of our core mission. They're part of our mission, but now we have funds available to do a number of different items that we would not have been able to fit into our budget. So for all of our young families, you get to benefit. This is the old story of, why am I planting an olive tree? So my grandchildren will benefit. So we have gotten that opportunity. Operation Upgrade is being maintained as in a money market fund because Susie needs the cash now. We have been, through the unfortunate times of a higher interest rate, we've been taking advantage of it because the money market funds are paying us about 5% annually. So we're able to keep growing the money till we need it, and it's generating about, off of that, another $1,500 a month. So it helps make our money go even further to continue to refresh this building. Restricted funds are a combination of all the funds that we have had over the years. Youth funds, building funds, education funds, adult education funds that we have lumped together, and it has also grown more than what we've used. Over the past year, between all the different arms of the synagogue, we were able to provide about $11,000 in scholarships to our young members to go to either Israel or to Camp Ramah. That is spectacular. And that's from years and years of people contributing. Also, a number of items in this building needed to be replaced and repaired, and we were able to use money out of our building funds to be able to cover those costs. Some of this stuff we would not be able to find in our regular budget. So that's, again, from years of people giving over 100 years and us being able to put the money aside. The Benstock Fund, that was, as I was talking to Michael Benstock last week, he told me that Jerry and Joan felt so strongly about CBI that it was their largest bequest out of all the monies that they gave away. The good and the bad, great to get a bequeathment, but it's even greater that it came from a family that has been very active at the synagogue. The number of shares would press that we needed to slowly sell them, and this was done under the direction of Joel Shane and the Finance Committee, as well as working with TOP and Goldman Sachs, so that we were able to slowly sell off those shares of stock they originally thought it would take us 3 weeks. I think it took us 6, but either way, all the shares were sold at near their highs of the day. So I think our financial assistants were tremendous in making sure we maximized our revenue, our monies that we got from selling that stock. So we have about $1.4 million in the Benstock Fund. One of the promises I had to make to Susie was that we would make certain that after we do all the renovations, all the refreshing, all the upgrades, that we would make certain now we have enough funds to make sure that all the maintenance work that we didn't have money for 7 to 10 years ago, we now have available so we can keep this building in the best shape we can. So that the next time we have to do another Operation Upgrade in 25 years, we won't have to be coming from so far back. Now, onto the budget itself.
Mark, I have a question.
Sure.
The BFF restricted fund, are there any thoughts about the children's programming that might go toward? Is there anything that we could see like this coming year?
Well, this past year, we had Nefesh Mountain come, and that's part of conversations that Rabbi and Maureen need to have about how to come up with additional programming that's not part of the routine so that we have funds available. And most probably, we could draw about $25,000 out of that, which should be able to do some nice, enjoyable opportunities for families and kids and young adults, so that as we're trying to meet people in their space, since we have a lot of people that don't come to shul to daven but want to participate in Jewish life. So this gives us an opportunity that we would not otherwise have.
How much do we pay TOP to manage our money?
We pay them, This was a conversation we had that they gave us a sweetheart deal of, Joel, what was it?
Don't think, it's kind of confidential, but it was, we're paying top less than we paid our advisors at Raymond James.
And they let us know that when we had conversations this year, that we got a sweetheart deal from them to manage the funds. I mean, it's a balance of, they want, the more money that TOP has in total makes their pricing from Goldman Sachs a little bit better, but I think they manage it as well as we can.
Just, sorry for throwing this in there just quick because there's some new numbers in top. I know that last year, we finally made an agreement that we could use the Israel bond top program for Operation Upgrade only, but with these new dollars in top, might there be a consideration to include the AFC for that, since the money's going to be coming back anyway?
The problem, or the challenge,
Top decision, it's a board of CBI decision.
logistically, it's more work because people's AFCs are for active operations within the year, compared to when we're giving money for Operation Upgrade, there's timing so that we need to keep money in so we can afford to not have access to the money as cash for a one-year period. It's just, if a lot of people started giving us State of Israel bonds, then we'd be cash poor.
And I was strictly talking about the double mitzvah program that top does with Federation and things like that.
Right.
Carrie, maybe if you want to do for 3 years from now, pay your AFC for 3 years from now with Israel bond, and then do this year separately.
Rabbis are not accountants. Mark, I'd like to add something that I don't know if everyone realizes, that the Ben Stock Fund, the restricted funds, BFF fund, the board limits the amount distributed every year to a maximum of 5 or 6%. So this money will continue to grow, hopefully, for many years, maybe in perpetuity.
What is, are there any restrictions on the Ben Stock Fund, or is it going to be used like the Benjamin Fund, or how's that going to work?
There are no formal restrictions, but it would be prudent for us to make certain that out of those funds that we are maintaining this building. Again, being mindful of the families that are involved, but there was no specific restrictions at the time of the will and the bequeathment. Up to, and we'll try to take as little as we can get away with to make sure that we're staying solvent and appropriate. So if we don't need to draw quite as much, great. But we're also not trying to drain it anytime soon.
Can you describe the BFF restricted fund? You were mentioning some programs, I guess that was to help some people.
The purpose that the senior Ben Stocks who aren't with us anymore had in mind was to be able to provide youth and young family programming for activities that are not traditionally part of our budget. So that's where we're working. We were able, our NEAT board, which we use all the time, was originally gotten for the kids, but I think the adults usurped it. We were able to get a lot of equipment for the PRTT. This year we were able to put on concerts. Security was used for some of that. So those are just some of those items, and it's year by year, as items come up, the board gets to vote and say, yes, this sounds like a good idea, and try to limit the total amount to 5 or 6% total out of the corpus of the account. Any other questions right now? Okay. On to Part B, the budget itself. So Yeah, it's all fuzzy. Yes. Yeah, I think I have a fuzzy budget as well as a fuzzy computer. Hang on. You were sent a copy of this is part of the packet for the meeting. So AFC income, I'm budgeting to be about the same at a little over $500,000. It would be very, very nice, as we have a 3% inflation, if people could at least increase their contributions by 3%. That's not a big jump, but enough to help balance our budget. Administrative income and expenses, transfers from the restricted fund I have budgeted out for next year about $10,000. This past year, we had to draw about $25,000 to pay for scholarships as well as repairs throughout the building. Expenses for administration, which include the executive director, the office staff, office expenses, property and liability insurance is going to go up about 3 or 4% to about $325,000 unless the liability insurance on this building goes up noticeably higher. This past year, we had to adjust the way the limits of our policy coverage as well as our what the deductible was to make us be able to absorb the cost of the increases. Many of you know homeowner liability, homeowners insurance has really jumped, and I hope that it doesn't jump a ton more from this past year. Also in there is the cost of our security. We have added security. We've always had security whenever we've had 25 to 50 people or more in here. Now we've also added Sunday mornings for the school that there's a police officer here. We used to have a couple of empty police cars, but they sold those off, so we don't have them anymore. So the board is trying to be very mindful, but it costs money to have police. Each 4-hour cycle of police costs us $250. So you can do a little bit of math. Ritual income and expenses is very little income. We used to put some of the Shabbat Shabbat dinners into it. Most of the income is going to come from the Chevra Kadisha group, who are doing some very important work to making sure people, even after they're not aware of their needs, or their needs are being met. And the costs, most of the costs for that are going up slightly, is going to the Torah reader. Clergy expenses, this past year we got a grant to cover a significant amount of the cantors as well as the Torah reader salary. We're going to ask for a little bit more. Hopefully the donor will increase by a few percent also. And clergy expenses go up a little bit because we just approved a 4% increase in cantor's salary, and Rabbi's contract has an index for him to get paid a little bit more.
Out of those three columns, which one do you think is the most important? The middle one? Is that the actual? Or?
That's the actual through 3 quarters, but I think the budget for next year is pretty clean. Again, most of our budget is fixed. Even though it's variable, we have the fixed cost. We don't have a mortgage on this building, thank goodness. But most of our variable costs are, we have to keep the lights on, we have to pay the rabbi, the cantor, the Torah reader, our office staff, our PRTT teachers, our director of lifelong learning. So that's where most of the money is, and then, Florida Power likes to charge us. Our liability insurance goes up some. So most of the items in our budget are pretty much fixed that we've got to use. There's not much we can hide.
Are we looking at the rent yet that we get from the preschool?
The rent in the preschool is the bottom section, which is facilities, income, and expenses. The school pays us a little over $70,000 a year, and it costs us some to be able to provide them with, the facility support for running that. That's made this synagogue a whole lot more financially stable because it's revenue that's coming in instead of when we were running our own preschool, somehow we could never make it work and it was usually losing us money. And I know it was very painful for some people that we don't run a preschool anymore, but like cemeteries, we didn't do a very good job of it. And I'm not sure why, but so facilities income is 79,000. The expenses are a little over a quarter million, and they include our maintenance personnel, utilities, landscaping, repairs and maintenance, and the revenue is from the preschool and parking lot income. I'm also expecting that it's going to cost us more for our power bills, even though we've changed over to LED lighting in here. We've got a new roof that hopefully will be a little more energy efficient. And with the new air handlers, those should also be a little more energy efficient than the 25-year-old units that we used to have. Education and enrichment, revenue of about $20,000 from various sources, including paying for supply fees, expenses. In that expenses, the big jump from about 90,000 to 105,000 or so is the expectation that we're going to use the BFF. So that comes out as, we draw from one pot, but it comes out as expenses in the, in the education arm. And then the PRTT expenses is going to be about 21,000, which is, half of that is paying for the teachers. Fundraising, grants and income, the Benjamin Fund distribution, I'm projecting drawing the same amount that we did this year, which is 146,000. Hopefully, that'll keep on growing even more, so we may be able to draw more. Drawing out of the Benstock endowment, less than about 3 or 4% to pay and cover a lot of the maintenance costs that we have. Then the Benstock Education Fund I've talked about. Fundraising income. Last year, the grant was included in the budget, but so far we've brought in about 72,000, so I'm projecting a flat amount of money that we are able to do fundraising for. And fundraising expenses, half of that fundraising expense for the year is running the Chase the Dreidel. And then we have to pay for more leaves for our Tree of Life. Hopefully many of you will find reasons to, get friends together and put more leaves on the Tree of Life. And hopefully not so many of you will need to get memorial plaques put up. Yes?
Chase the Dreidel has a net gain.
Yes, and the net gain this year was much less than it was in previous years.
Okay, but you just said that it was one of the expenses.
Yes, it is. It's an expense, but it's also a revenue. But I didn't separate them out, but it's the largest piece in the fundraising expenses that we have. It is what, It's also one of our larger fundraisers. So at the end of the day, budget projections of income of about 990,000, but expenses are going to be a little over $1 million, projecting a slight deficit of about $12,000. So that's why if we get more money from people's AFCs, we're able to run more programming that people contribute and support, as well as fund and be their sponsors, that hopefully will close that gap that we end up neutral at the end of the year. So, yes, years ago, Ralph Mizrachi would walk out because we would project $50,000 losses on our budget. I cannot do that. I used to get upset about it also. So this slight loss, I think if people dig a little deeper, give us 3-4% more in their AFCs, we'll be able to say come end of year, we're still in good financial shape. And if the markets go up and the bonds stay about the same in terms of generating 5%, we should be doing okay for the next year. Any other questions? There's a motion to accept the budget.
Okay, I'll start with the, thank you, Mark.
Can I request a voice vote?
So we have a motion, we've got a second, so I'll start with Alma.
Joel's
Please
it.
raise your hand. Okay, noes?
All voting no, please raise your hand.
Okay, got it. All right. All yeses? Okay, the yeses have it. The motion passes. The budget is approved. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, the final item on the agenda is the presentation of the Gail S. Warren Legacy for Leadership Award. The recipient of this award, our first Vice President, Eileen Richmond, was selected by a vote by the Board of Trustees. Steve Warren is here to say a few words and to present the award named for his beloved wife and a friend of mine that we all miss.
For those of you who weren't lucky enough to know my wife, Gail, she was the consummate volunteer throughout the St. Pete Jewish community. She loved this shul and served in almost every capacity. She was on the executive board and was slated to become president when she got her terrible diagnosis and subsequently passed in 2009. The award was established to memorialize her, keep her memory alive, and recognize exemplary leadership among all the wonderful and important leaders who serve the CBI community. The list of the recipients over the last 15 years is a who's who in that regard. We are also happy to present this year's Gail S. Warren Legacy for Leadership Award to Eileen Richmond, and we thank you for all you have done and continue to do for the CBI family.
One, two, three. Cheese. One more time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Ashley, is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. Congratulations, everyone. Okay.
You did fine, by the way. That was the only thing, is like, just keep on going.
What happened was,
You missed the
duplicated
line?
itself.